why Logan Paul didn't sue coffeezilla. I'm not an attorney, but I have significant defamation litigation experience. I don't know how much we should get into the actual law here. If you'd like to, then you're definitely welcome to leave a comment below and I'll share my thoughts. But let's start from the high level, okay? Basically in defamation, there are two situations when people file defamation cases. The first is that the plaintiff is in the right and has a lot of money. The second is that the plaintiff is in the wrong, has a lot of money, and wants to bully a defendant who is unable to defend himself. And this is probably the most important aspect of this entire video. Oftentimes people will use defamation in order to bully defendants, to either get something taken down, get a video taken down, get an article removed, but it oftentimes backfires. And the key reason why it backfires, and probably one of the biggest reasons why Logan Paul didn't sue coffeezilla, is that the discovery process during defamation is so incredibly invasive that coffeezilla would have been able to subpoena all of Logan Paul's sensitive documents and information, and then, unless there was some type of gag order or mutual confidentiality agreement, he actually would have been able to share that and make them public. So by using the discovery process, coffeezilla would have completely annihilated and gutted Logan Paul. Now, in my opinion, this is how things would have transpired. But, and I'm going to tell you at the end, coffeezilla has a huge weakness. And again, I'll touch on that at the end. But this is how I think things would have gone down. Logan Paul would have filed, and then he would have served coffeezilla. The complaint that Logan Paul would have filed would have been pretty generic. It wouldn't have said specifically how Logan Paul was defamed. It wouldn't have had a proper cause of action. It would not have been able to show specific damages, that Logan Paul lost a significant amount of money, etc. So coffeezilla would have immediately hit him with discovery. Then he would have filed, because it would have been a federal case that would have been filed in Texas, so it would have been governed by state laws in Texas. Then coffeezilla would have concurrently served him with discovery. He would have served him with interrogatories, admissions, and requests for production of documents. He then would have probably filed a 12B6, which is a motion to dismiss. That 12B6 probably would have said something like, the complaint is not specific enough, it doesn't have a proper cause of action, that the initial complaint has to quote exactly where coffeezilla defamed Logan Paul. So coffeezilla would have filed a motion to dismiss. He probably would have brought up an anti-SLAPP, which I don't think would have been approved. I know that Texas has very strong anti-SLAPP laws, but at the same time, in general, a judge is going to give the benefit of the doubt to the plaintiff, especially for a motion to dismiss. So the judge probably would have denied the anti-SLAPP. He probably would have approved some of the other contentions in the motion to dismiss, and then Logan Paul would have had to go back and file an amended complaint to be more specific, and he would have had to state a clear cause of action, etc. But during that time, coffeezilla would be able to subpoena documents, in which case Logan Paul, I'm sure, would drag his feet. They probably would go through meet and confers with their attorneys. They wouldn't produce documents. Then it would turn into a whole mess with coffeezilla filing a motion to compel in order to get the documents, etc. And I just think it would have been a complete 100% disaster, because the probability of Logan Paul actually winning that lawsuit is pretty much close to 0%. Now, Logan Paul is a public figure, and there's no doubt about that. But even if Logan Paul wasn't a public figure, the probability of Logan Paul winning that lawsuit is close to 0%. In fact, most litigation cases are not litigated to the end where a judge or a jury makes a decision. Almost all of them are settled. So Logan Paul's goal would have been to force coffeezilla into a settlement agreement where coffeezilla would have agreed to a non-disparagement clause. And then coffeezilla's goal would have been to obtain as many documents as possible and basically end Logan Paul's career. And I truly do think that Logan Paul made the right decision here. I think that Logan Paul, if he had sued coffeezilla would have left himself very, very susceptible. And a lot of people in the comment section might disagree with me, and they might say, well, Logan Paul is worth $100 million and Steven and coffeezilla are not that wealthy, so he probably wouldn't have been able to defend himself. The reality is that defending yourself against a defamation case costs, in general, about $200,000 to $300,000. Yes, I know sometimes it costs more, but in general, you're going to look at, on a low end, about $100,000. This is pre-trial, right? Because virtually no defamation cases go to trial. But assuming that you go through motion phase and you go through discovery, you're looking at about $100,000 to $200,000, maximum $250,000. Steven has that money, and I know that he has insurance. I'll get to that in a second. But Logan Paul has $200,000 to $300,000. Steven has $200,000 to $300,000. So both of them are on an equal playing field regarding being able to defend themselves against a frivolous defamation case. Where people get in trouble is, like I said in the beginning, there are two types of people who file defamation cases. The first, you are right and you have a lot of money. The second, you are wrong, but you have a lot of money and you want to bully someone who is unable to defend themselves. Steven is able to defend himself because he has enough goodwill with the YouTube community where people will either donate to the lawsuit or he has his own money where he can easily defend himself. And as long as he makes a good decision in choosing a good attorney, in my opinion, he would have completely gutted Logan Paul. So Steven can defend himself. And because this is a frivolous lawsuit, Logan Paul doesn't really have any damages. Because coffeezilla will be able to subpoena and through the discovery process obtain so many documents that will probably show that he wasn't lying. And because Logan Paul is a public figure, which means that the threshold is much higher, it would have to show actual malice. The probability of him actually losing that case is close to 0%. I mean, even if Logan Paul wasn't a public figure, the probability of him winning a case against anyone who's able to defend themselves is close to 0%. And the intention of Logan Paul in suing someone would be to get the video taken down and railroad them into signing a non-disparagement agreement with a permanent injunction. So oftentimes what happens is that plaintiffs will file a defamation case, they'll run to the judge and ask for a temporary restraining order or a TRO. They'll say, this person said this and it's affecting my business in this way. And then it's up to the judge to decide whether he wants to grant the TRO. If he grants the TRO, then it's significantly advantageous to the plaintiffs. If he doesn't grant the TRO, then it's extremely detrimental to the plaintiffs, and usually the defendant at that time has a significant amount of leverage. Additionally, something that Logan Paul did not factor in is that not only could Steven have annihilated him on discovery, but Steven could have filed a separate action against him for Lanham Act or false advertising or something to that nature. He then could have contacted the FTC or the government agencies and then shared all the discovery documents with them. It just would have been a complete nightmare. And Logan Paul's career might have been over. This guy's like a cat. He has 9 lives. So I don't believe that it would have completely destroyed his career, but it definitely would have hurt it. So that's basically the reason. I probably went into way too many details on the legal aspect. Now I want to touch on something that is vitally important about Steven's weakness. And coffeezilla's weakness is he has business insurance. That, in my opinion, is his Achilles heel, because insurances don't like paying attorneys. They don't like paying out claims. And I remember speaking on the phone to coffeezilla about 3 years ago, and he told me that he doesn't mind getting sued because he has business insurance. And my response to him was, be very careful about that because it is a double-edged sword. And the reason for that is oftentimes you have to go with the lawyer that your insurance company appoints. And if that lawyer is not good, then you can be in a bad position. Also, because insurance companies don't like paying money for lawsuits, then that lawyer can pressure you into settling a case before you actually will receive the most advantageous terms. Or if the insurance company wants to save money and not pay out claims, then maybe the lawyer will skip steps. And maybe instead of immediately requesting discovery and sending out subpoenas, they will drag their heels, or they won't file a motion to dismiss and they'll just file an answer, and they won't file a motion to strike if the initial complaint is not solid. So you have to be really careful, because having a bad lawyer is very detrimental to your case. And I truly think that that's Steven's Achilles heel. He relies too much on his business insurance. And if the lawyer that the insurance company hires is not good and is told to limit their billable hours, then that could have put Steven in a very harmful situation. CoffeeZilla has so much goodwill built up on YouTube that people would have donated to his lawsuit. Plus, CoffeeZilla, I'm sure, is relatively wealthy. He runs a very successful YouTube channel. So I'm sure that he has his own money to defend himself. But even if he didn't, I'm 100% positive that he would have been able to raise the $100,000 to $400,000 to $500,000 in order to completely destroy Logan Paul. So with all due respect to both parties, I really think that Logan Paul made the right decision in not going after and pursuing a lawsuit. And to be honest, I respect Logan Paul, where he didn't let ego get in the way. He didn't say, oh, you hurt my feelings, I'm going to go after you and I'm going to file a frivolous lawsuit. Instead, he owned up to it. He called Steven. I believe he apologized. He deleted his video. And that's basically the end of it. So those are my 2 cents. If you have any questions, then please leave a comment below. I'm sure I missed a lot of things. I'm not an attorney, but let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you disagree. But, it definitely would have been good drama. Steven pretty much would have won, I would say, 95 out of 100 times. If Steven had a good lawyer, he would basically win 100 out of 100 times. But there is a little bit of risk by Steven having business insurance. If the insurance company hired a bad lawyer, then that definitely could have hurt Steven and it could have caused him to lose the case. So that's really, in my opinion, the biggest risk that CoffeeZilla carried. But besides that, a little bit of drama. YouTube loves drama, right? So let me know your thoughts below. Please subscribe to this channel, David Jaffe with beststockstrategy.com, and I appreciate your attention.